Hi, and welcome everyone to our webinar on finding remote jobs in Africa with Talenteum and Nexford University. We are so excited to have everybody here with us today. We're going to give it a minute or so to allow our digital room to fill. But if you are looking for the webinar on finding remote jobs in Africa with Talenteum, hosted by Nexford University, you're in the right place. We are happy to have you here. This is going to be, I think, our biggest webinar of the year so far. We've had a lot of folks register and are really happy to have everybody. If you want to let us know in the chat where you are joining from to give us an idea, I think, of the diversity of where folks are dialing in from, we would love to see that. My name is Jennifer Bangoura, and I am Nexford University's Director of Career Innovation, and I'm joining from Malawi. We have a lot of our learners and Nexford community joining from Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, someone else from Malawi. Really great to see how many of you are making the time to join us today. We have Cameroon, more Kenya. It's great to see Tanzania. We have Mauritius, Burkina Faso. This is really wonderful to see. I think it's a reflection of the birds outside my window are wanting to join and contribute as well. Oh, Belgium, this is great. And we have Cote d'Ivoire, India, South Africa. Wow, we have, I think, we're gonna have to check out the chat afterwards and see how many countries we have reflected here in our webinar. So we will, without further ado, Nicolas, if you'd like to join us, thank you to everyone who's letting us know in the chat where you're joining from. Nicolas Goldstein is going to join us on video in a moment. Here he is. Nicolas is the co-founder of Talenteum Africa, a social bridging platform offering long-term professional opportunities to African talent ready to work remotely with worldwide companies. He's been involved in the African tech ecosystem for over 6 years, is on the board of French Tech Mauritius, and is chapter director of Startup Grind, a nonprofit organization. We are absolutely thrilled to have Nicolas here with us today to talk about finding remote jobs in Africa with Talenteum, his company, which he's going to share a little bit more about. My name, as I said before, is Jennifer Bangoura, and I'm Nexford University's Director of Career Innovation. So what I care about is our learners and the Nexford community finding opportunities that align with your education and fulfilling our mission of building socioeconomic mobility through education. So thank you again to everyone who's joining. I will go ahead and turn it over to you, Nicolas. So I'd love you, if you would like to say anything more about, if I missed anything in your background, who you are, what you're doing, and then please tell us, to kick us off, tell us about Talenteum and who you all are.
Thank you, Jennifer. So I'm very excited to be with you today. I see so many people from all over Africa, so I'm very, very excited to be with you. Yes, so I'm the co-founder of Talenteum.com. We are the first social bridging platform helping African talents to work remotely with international companies. So before going deeply into Talenteum, perhaps I will give you the story and the origin of Talenteum. In fact, like all the companies, we are trying to solve some problems. And what we saw with my associate 4 years ago is that in the next 10 years, the world and mainly northern countries will lack 10 million skilled people. And on another hand, in Africa, we are going to have a boom in the population, and we are going to have one student base of 2 going out of university without finding a job in these categories. So what we decided is to match the excess of talents we could have in Africa and the talent shortage we have mainly in Europe, US, and even in Asia. And this is how Talenteum has been created 4 years ago. We did a proof of concept before COVID, And it was successful. Mainly companies were willing to work remotely and moreover with people outside their border and mainly in Africa. So this is a story of Talenteum. And now we have more than 250 people where we have given a full-time job working remotely with all over the world. We are not a gig economy platform with a talent economy platform. So what we give a decent salary to people and talents on a long-term basis. So it's not freelancing, it's not a short-term mission. And so this is what we do, and this is Talenteum.
That's wonderful. It's very exciting to see this trend, this like enduring trend for remote work in Africa. And we often hear that talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. And so it's great to see companies like Talenteum who are actually making those opportunities available to more people. I wanted to also make a note because we get this question a lot. We will be sharing a recording. If we mention any links, we will send that in our follow-up message. And also, some of the richest parts of these conversations come out of the questions that you, our attendees, have. So in the bottom of the screen or on your mobile phone, you see a Q&A box. Please, throughout the conversation, add your questions in the Q&A box. Otherwise, the chat, as you can see, it gets so busy, it's hard to keep track of. But we would really love to have your questions so we can ask Nicolas live to get his insights and learn from his experience. So Nicolas, we'd love to know, I've listened to some great podcasts that you've been on and other webinars. And what I'd love to know more about is what types of roles are you seeing companies hire for? Sometimes we only think it's tech talent, but I'm hearing from you before that maybe there's more to it than just tech talent.
Yes, of course. Tech talent is what we have the shortage of talent, but we have many more talents, everything which could be done remotely. Now, companies have seen that after COVID, post-COVID pandemic, we have seen so many jobs coming out which could be done remotely. So let me share my screen. I will show you Talenteum and all the job which is possible to do. So that will be the best things to do. Perhaps it will show some activities to your audience. So let me share my screen. So what we do is we are hiring remote talents ready to work remotely. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it looks great.
So what kind of talents can be done remotely? So we have data analyst, we have designer, project manager, consultant, data scientist. We have executive assistants or virtual assistants, human resources, salesman, remote agent, web marketer, secretary, writer, auditor, graphic designer, accountant, jurist, developer, growth hacker, DevOps, and so on. So this is the kind of categories of job we can do remotely. And what we do at Talenteum is we give an access to a talent pool, mainly in Africa, but tomorrow we could be also in Asia, in the Philippines, we could be in South America. We do the wage portage, so it means when a talent perhaps could find himself companies, but he needs to have a company who does the wage portage, and this is what we do. We do the EOR, the employer of records, of all the talents who could find himself a company, but the company is not based in Nigeria or Ghana. So he's going to us and said, I have a company, but I need to be hired. Could you help us? So we have many talents coming to us saying, we find a company, we just need a partner to like an umbrella company to help us be employed on behalf of people. And many of these people have found the job on LinkedIn, and the company, they just need a company to help them. And this is what we do. We do the bridge between companies and talents. And what we do, we just bill the cost price of what is negotiated by the talents and the company. So it's very transparent, and our goal is not to put a margin, but just to free the market of the market and the workfare market. So that's it for the remote job, which could be done remotely. And now it's just a question of, the globalization is now, and the companies are willing to hire 100% people remotely from all over the world. But also in Africa, we have seen so many companies who are willing to work with a few remote positions. So not everybody, but more and more companies are willing to work remotely.
And I think what's interesting that I've seen on your website and your communications is this emphasis on, and I don't know if I'm using the right word, but meaningful salaries and equitable. You've used this word multiple times too, and not, just paying someone the minimum, but your employees or the talent that you're sourcing, you're trying to get them really, good paying jobs. Could you talk a little bit more about that and what your philosophy is on that and what you've seen?
Yes, of course. So in fact, as the competence now are global, you are open to ask what you require. Now it's just a question of expertise. Do you have the same expertise as an American or an Italian? And if yes, you could raise a little bit your salary. Perhaps you are not going to have the same salary as in US or in Italy because you don't have the same way of living. So it's not possible, but you can raise your salary because there is a demand for that. And for example, 100% of the talents who join Talenteum have raised their salary. So, and they are becoming to be owner of the house. So even if you work remotely and you are a freelancer with us, we are giving you the opportunity to have a career in the next years. So we are helping people to be open to the world, to increase their salary, but you're not going to have the same salary like in US, in Europe, because this is two different markets, but you are going to have a new life. And what we do at Talenteum is we are trying to push to build a middle class, because what is lacking in Africa is to build a middle class where you can have some opportunity to take a loan, to have your loan to get your house and so on. So by building the middle class, we are helping also the growth of Africa.
That's great. That's an exciting mission. And I'm curious if you're able to share, like, what types of companies are hiring or who are interested in exploring hiring African talent, and or what are the industries that you're seeing that have an especially large appetite for remote talent?
Yeah, so in fact, I won't say that companies are willing now to hire African talents. In fact, they were used to hire talents all over the world, but Africa was a bit behind the scene. India has been in front of the scene since more than 15 years and 20 years, and that's why everybody wants to India or Asia to hire some people. Now Africa is coming into the scene, and people are seeing that there is more and more talents. They can see that the demography is growing, and this is why now we have more and more startups coming into the scene. So this is what we see, the ecosystem is building, and people are saying, oh, we still have some people in India, but we should consider Africa. And that's why now we decided to be focused in Africa, because there is a huge workforce, and we are trying to help this workforce to be stable and to be in the forefront of what is possible. And thanks to the technology, now it's possible to work remotely. And wherever you're in Lagos, you are in Madagascar, or in Port Louis in Mauritius, it's possible to work. And this is the opportunity we give to companies.
That's great. And for everyone listening, I mean, one, this conversation already is fascinating, and I'm enjoying it so much. We're going to talk now more largely about remote work in Africa, and then we'll drill down soon into the specific skills and what it takes to get hired into these jobs. So I can see the excitement in the chat. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about some of the barriers and opportunities that you see with remote work. And you have a nice acronym, I suppose, that I've heard you say. So if you could talk a little bit about what you see in terms of potential and also some of the challenges that folks are facing when it comes to remote work.
So in Africa, what I've seen during the more than 7 years that I have been on the ground is Africa should invest in the 3E. So a lot of people I'm seeing doesn't know what is the 3E, but the 3E are education, entrepreneurship, and energy. So I will start with the last one, energy. If you want to be compliance with your technology and to be remote compliance, you need to have electricity and a good internet. So I have seen some difficulties in Congo, in Madagascar, with the problem of electricity and cutting the internet, and sometimes it's causing a problem with the company. So more and more Africa will work on having a better electricity, having a green energy. It will help African people to work remotely. Then education, we have to invest in education more and more. So what you do at Nexford is great, and we need to encourage this kind of solution. Also, employability. It's good to go out of university, but to help them get a job, and if possible, a job of tomorrow. This is what we have to do. And I will go back to this topic after that. And mainly entrepreneurship, because now we need to give power to African people to build Africa. And I have seen so many people, Africa, saying, we don't want foreigner to build Africa. So Africa is yours, and you have to be yourself, to build your startup of tomorrow, in order that try to be yourself an entrepreneur and build Africa yourself. And I'm sure African people, they have talents to become entrepreneur. I like one guy called Fred Swaniker. He's built the African Leadership University, and he's building the manager of tomorrow, the entrepreneur of tomorrow in Africa. And this is what Africa needs to build the next generation. And I'm sure that Africa could be a booming continent in the next 10 years.
Yes, it's super exciting. We just had our graduation ceremony in Lagos last weekend for Nexford with over 400 of our BBA and MBA graduates, and to feel the energy, and something that we have a lot of entrepreneurs who are enrolled in our programs, but also people who are enrolling in the programs to move into entrepreneurship. So we have the education and entrepreneurship covered. We need to, we all need to work on the energy a little bit more, even, here in Malawi. Hanging on to our soul.
Yeah, and you know what I'm doing currently? I'm working with one of my customers from Madagascar. He said, Nicolas, we have to find a solution to help them with energy. So what we have seen is if we can finance and co-finance some solar energy to put on the roof of each house of the remote talents, it could help them to have a better electricity and not be dependent of the local electricity. So we found a company based in Belgium who is providing some mobile solar energy, which could be enough to get electricity for a few hours or maximum one day. If there is a cut of the electricity, you can have like a backup. And so this is by innovation that we are going to find the solution. Unfortunately, government won't find the solution, but it will come mainly by entrepreneurs bringing innovation to the table. And there is a huge opportunity in Africa to bring some green energy. And hopefully that the mix of entrepreneurs from Western countries and African countries will find the solution themselves.
I'm curious too, we didn't discuss this question, but you know, what kind of demand you're seeing? You're recruiting for companies that are outside of Africa to hire within, but are you seeing a demand for companies who are wanting to recruit African companies, recruiting African talent as well, and remote talent? Are you seeing that at all?
Yes, of course. We have also many companies from Africa, mainly large companies or startups who raise not money. They want to hire in Africa, and they have difficulties to find great talents. So even the great talents in Africa are missing, and that's why we need education and bootcamp to train African talents. And yes, they are willing to work remotely with people. Mainly, I will say that they prefer to work hybrid. So it means half day in half week at the office, half week at home. So they just try to find a solution in order to offer a cool and relaxed atmosphere to the employee, because what they want, they just want the best of the employee. So they offer them 3 days at work, 2 days at remote. So this is what we see. So what is going on in US and Europe with the big companies in Africa, it's the same thing which is coming in Africa. But of course, this is mainly with a type of works. So everything which could be remotely. Now everything which needs to be manual, or everything which need to be workers on the floor, of course, it's not the same story.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what it's going to look like in the years to come, and how co-working spaces will evolve to, for remote companies, so that I can work remotely from the city, but also do my education and online learning from a hub. I feel like I'm sensing a little bit more uptick in those types of things. Are you seeing that?
Yes, of course. We have, for example, in Mauritius Island, it's a small country, and we have more than 6 new co-working space which has been built the last 3 years. So people are more and more independent. Few of them are quitting their salary job to become self-employed, and they need some office. That's why they go to co-working space. And we can see also new people were into renting space, and now they are reimagining the workspace in order that people are happy to come to work with new office, cool office, cafeteria, and so on. So if you bring and if you consider your employee, people will come back to the office as well and not stay remotely. So I think it's a new way to work, and we have to evolve with what is with what happened, and companies will be fine to mixed remote work and office work.
Mm-hmm. This is great. So I think too, would it be helpful just, and again, we're going to dig into a moment, I'd love you for you to walk us even through the user journey of talent coming through Talenteum and what that looks like. But if we could back up a moment, and I loved the description that you've given around gig economy versus the talent economy. And I think that's an important distinction for folks who are attending just to hear, because you hear remote work and we think, oh, a full-time job, but there's lots, which is great. But it sounds like, there are a lot of different, I don't know if the word's iterations, but a lot of different types of remote work out there. So if you could please just give that definition so people can understand what that looks like and what it means.
Yeah, sure. So gig work used to be known for a company called Upwork. They are providing jobs and mission to people all over the world. And they can give you, for example, a mission to create a logo. They are going to hire you for 3 days to do a mission. So this is what we do, the gig economy. For example, if you work with Deliveroo or Uber, this is a gig economy because you are paid based on a mission or on a project they are giving you. The talent economy is more based on your expertise on a long-term basis. So what we do at Talenteum, we just look for the best talents based on one expertise, and they are going to have a long-term mission or a mission like an employee's offer, but it is done remotely. Mainly people are coming, the clients are mainly from US, Europe, but for example, I have one company based in Hong Kong, and they have talents all over the world. So there are people in Asia, in Africa, in South Africa, in South America as well. And they are just taking the employee where they are. And if they succeed the tests, they are going to be employed on a full-time basis. So, so this is a little bit talent economy is on a long term. Gig economy, it's just to sometimes you are doing some jobs on top of your job. So this is what you call the gig economy. But what I would say, gig economy is good, but it's not a sustainable job you can do for your career.
That's great. I mean, that's really good to even just have that vocabulary and to understand sometimes when you're seeing something online, this is maybe a shorter term. It's more of a hustle of like, you're going to have to keep chasing those short-term opportunities. What I could encourage people, and I'd love to hear if maybe you're seeing this, for people who have very limited experience and you're seeing on those job descriptions, oh, we're requiring 1 to 3 years experience in this field, platforms like Upwork or Fiverr can be great for you to just get that initial experience and have something in your portfolio that could lead you to a longer term role in this talent economy. Is that something that you see, Nicolas?
Yes. And on top of that, Jennifer, I will say that the best way to promote yourself as a talent is, for example, LinkedIn. Yesterday, I used to do a training on LinkedIn on a university from Tunisia. And what I've seen is so many people do not use the LinkedIn, which is a real open door to the world. And if you are smart enough to promote yourself, that could be a great opportunity to be hired remotely. Also, I will add something is try to think about who are the new technology you can, which could help you to improve yourself into your background. Sometimes, you can do some training yourself on YouTube or getting certificate online on top of university. And sometimes it will add a cherry on your CV that could help you to get a job. And what we have seen, I have a story to tell you. I used to meet someone on LinkedIn. His name was Chris from Cameroon. He used to be an accountant. And he came to see me and said, Nicolas, I need your help. I'm an accountant in a small country, in a small city in Cameroon, but I'm not earning enough money. I want to work remotely and if possible within international companies. When I see his resume was a pure accountant. So what you are earning currently is what the standard salary. But if you put on top of your salary, on top of your CV, like a financial analyst hat, it will help you to get a better job. So I give him 2 or few academy to get what we call the financial analyst background. He did that, and after 3 months, he came back to me. He said, Nicolas, I have my academy. It was a free academy to be a financial analyst. So he used to be an accountant. So from an accountant, he became a financial analyst. And an American company came to us and said, Nicolas, I'm looking for a financial analyst. I introduced Chris to this company. And now they are working with them since 1 year. He has increased his salary and he's still in Cameroon and is with us in our community. So this is what we call employability. On top of what you do, you're an accountant, but you can become someone else. And there is just a small bridge between becoming an accountant to be a financial analyst.
That's great. And I hope everyone will be getting a digital badge after the completion of this webinar for those of you who are attending live. And it's a fabulous opportunity if you're wanting to position yourself as somebody who is a remote work enthusiast or available for remote work. Share your badge and share some of your takeaways. Make sure to tag Nicolas, Talenteum, Nexford, because we'd love to amplify you and reinforce your own expertise in this space, and that you're someone who knows about remote work and are equipped to do it. So I think if we don't get into this now, the chat is gonna just get very upset with me. So can you walk us through now, what is a user experience like with Talenteum? What does it take me, Jennifer, I want to, or Amadou, anybody who's based here in Africa or globally, to get a remote job? And maybe if you want to walk us through what it's like on Talenteum, we would love to hear that.
Yes, of course. So in fact, we build a platform. It's Talenteum.com. So if you are a talent and you're looking for a job remotely, you just need to register as a talent. And we are going to ask you a few queries about where are you from? What is your expertise? You want to work from home or from a co-working space? And do you have your own electricity, your own bandwidth, and so on? So we are asking a few queries, and then we can match you with companies who are looking for talents. But what we do is just helping the talents to find a job remotely. So of course, we don't find job to everybody. For example, we have more than 1,200,000 people in our database, and we have for now only 10%. We find a job to only 10% of them. So, but we are starting small, but we are growing every day. And but what we do is we are trying to help everybody to be remote compliant or remote friendly. And also the advice I could tell them is to just try to understand how to be as good as people in France, people in US, in Italy, in Asia. So in order that the expertise are global and people in front of you can understand. So even if there is let's say a barrier of a country, borderless, it's possible now, and you just have to show them that you know well what is going on in US, in Europe, and so on. So in order that when you talk to people, they understand that even if you are based in Africa or in Philippines, you understand the world very well. So this is what people want to see. If they can have a conversation with you and you understand well the world, so this is what they want. They want to be they want to work with a world citizen. So this is also which is important. And so the journey of Talenteum is we are trying to check every day the new talents which are registered, and we help them if they have registered their space in our website. Then we do some matching. So if there is some good match, we can introduce them some customer. Otherwise, it's a marketplace. So we just leave the market himself to look for the people. So people who are in database, even if they don't find a job now, they can find a job in 3 months, in 1 year or less. So it's just an opportunity. It takes you only 10 minutes to register, and then it's anonymous. So we won't have your name on the platform. So just create, it's free, and you have an opportunity to find and to discover a job. And now for companies who are willing to find talent, we are just asking the same thing. They are just register and they just full their job posts on the platform. And lastly, what we do the EOR. So EOR is employer of records. If yourself, I'm based in Nigeria and I found a US company, I want to be employed in Nigeria, and the company you found can't employ you. So we are going to do it for you. You just tell us what was your salary, and you're going to employ you and invoice your customers. So this is the 3 things we do. We help talents to find a job, we help companies to find talents, and we do the employer of records.
So what are you seeing, and everyone in the chat, you will be getting a link to the website after. It's also, I just put it in the chat as well, and you can search the name Talenteum. I'm curious what some of the actual either hard or soft skills that you're seeing, because it's your website, it sounds like it's a marketplace, so companies are coming in and scrolling through to see what skills people have. In terms of, is it personal branding or how people present themselves? Do you see what do you see the people who are having real success in landing these remote jobs? What are they doing well and doing right?
Sorry, I was responding on the chat. Someone was asking what is EOR in full, so I was doing it. It's employer of records. And can you repeat your question, Jennifer?
Sure. I think what I'll speak from my personal experience and what I've heard also from some of our Nexford learners is you see these remote jobs, you want to apply, and then you don't hear anything back and you don't get that job. And also at the end of the day, we all have to have a healthy dose of self-awareness. Is our CV a good reflection of who we are? Is our LinkedIn profile really actually something that people are going to want to look at? Are we communicating by email, by chat, in a way that conveys that we are a professional who understands how to communicate, with other people today? So I'm curious, when you have your talent in Talenteum, the ones who are getting hired, what do they have that's that special spark that you're seeing that helps them stand out from the other talent even on your platform?
Yes, good question, Jennifer. In fact, one key I can give you to everybody Of course, expertise is the number one, but the two is empathy. In fact, when you work with people remotely, they want someone with empathy. They need to have a good communication. So you have to speak well your language, English or French or whatever, and you need to communicate well with the people in front of you, because remote is not easy. So they are going to go to you because they have some difficulties to find a worker in their country. So if they come to you, it has to be easy to work with you. So I will say that one of the advice I can give you is be smiley, friendly, talk to people, have a good communication skills. And then, of course, if you can have your expertise, because they are going to come to you with an expertise. So I will say that 10% of our talents find a job with us on full-time job. One was because they have the expertise that they are looking for. And two, because they give some confidence to people. So you have to bring confidence to your employer. And this is why people can find a job: confidence, empathy, and expertise.
That's a great confidence, empathy, and expertise. So CEE.
Great.
And I think that's and I think that's something that, again, you know, we find that is really important, and we have it integrated throughout our curriculum at Nexford, is this communication. And it's especially in the remote space, it's the asynchronous communication. When you look again at even your brief emails, are you being succinct? Are you being you know, sharing the message that needs to be communicated in a way that someone else can understand easily and quickly? And it's really hard, and it takes practice. And what I like to encourage our learners and just, you know, folks when I'm doing career coaching is to treat every opportunity as a way, you know, whether you're texting with people, again, messaging with your fellow people in your program, doing posts on LinkedIn, which is a great place to practice your writing. Treat it as a way that somebody else is seeing this, and that's part of your personal brand, and that they know, you know, who you are and what you're about. And for me, that's how I use LinkedIn to even like hone my own writing skills, so that people, you know, can see my expertise, my empathy, hopefully, and my confidence in the things that I care about. But again, we know that it takes time. What I also would recommend, and I'd love to hear what you're seeing in this space, Nicolas, but you know, really making the time to research the companies. So a company is hiring remote, and I'll share a link, you know, some of the remote, global remote companies that I've seen, but they might have a remote work policy. Taking the time to actually understand that and help draw the line and connect the dots for somebody when they're saying, we need people who are global communicators and, you know, have intercultural competence. Looking up what that means. We have courses on global business at Nexford that you can take, and really preparing yourself to have these interactions, because I think too, what we're seeing with this global remote work is you're not only working with someone from your culture. Even when we work with people from our own culture, there's opportunity for conflict and misunderstandings. And so now when you add in other cultures and countries and languages, I think the opportunities just kind of magnify as well. But, you know, ultimately it's for me, working in a global environment has been a really positive experience. But so that's great. So you've just given us some good input on, you know, these folks who are succeeding in landing remote jobs have those 3 skills around expertise. I'd love to hear more, and then we'll turn to some of we have like a lot of questions in the Q&A that we're not gonna be able to get to, but all of them. Could you talk a little bit about the Sustainable Development Goals, the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, and I'll put a link in the chat so people can see, and how that aligns with the work that.
Yes, in fact, with Talenteum, we try to respect 3 SDGs from United Nations. One is number 5 is try to give a job parity between man and woman. With remote job, more and more women would like to work from home, and it's possible now. So that's one. Then SDG number 8, this is give a decent work. So try to push people not to come to Africa for low-cost job, but to give them a decent salary and try to help them have some expertise. And then SDG 13, which is we are pushing people not to go abroad. I've seen on the chat some people willing to ask if Talenteum helps people to get a job abroad. So it means if I'm in Africa, I want to go to Europe to get a better salary, or US. So this is not the case at Talenteum. Our vision is to leave African people in Africa, to be well paid, and to build the middle class, and to work with international companies. And a few of our talents, they are coming to France for a seminar, and they're coming back to their country, and they're happy to keep their family in Africa. This is not just the case for everybody, but we try to give some decent salary and try to keep African talent in Africa. But that could be the same thing if I was doing it in South America or in Asia. I'm focusing to Africa. This is one study case we are doing currently, and we see that there is some opportunity with Africa. So SDG, it's important, and we're trying to be part of it.
That's great. And I'm seeing, so this is so helpful, and I love seeing companies grounded in the SDGs, because it's something that it's like having a common point among different companies and organizations that can really just help to see how you align with something that's been standardized globally. We have had over 25 questions coming in the Q&A. People, Nicolas, are hungry for the information that you're sharing. Some of them I will just go ahead and quickly respond to, because it's not a specific question, but is like around how do we stay in touch with you? So we will share in our follow-up. We're going to share Talenteum's website. We'll share Nicolas' LinkedIn profile. Please follow Nicolas. One of the best pieces of advice that I can give people in a job search, whether it's remote or in person, is to find people in your industry and space to follow on LinkedIn, even if you don't connect, because Nicolas is sharing very interesting and relevant content. And then you look at the people who like it, and you can look at their profiles and find even more people to follow or connect with who might also be sharing relevant opportunities. People are constantly sharing job opportunities. So that's one of the best pieces of advice that we can share here. If you go onto the Talenteum website, you'll see they are hiring for virtual assistants. So that's one of the questions. And yes, they are. And you can see all the other roles that they're hiring for, which is really great to see. So one question is around, do you have internship opportunities on Talenteum, or are these solely full-time positions?
So for now, it's only full-time position, and with people with already expertise. So no internship. The only internship we have, it's internally with us in Mauritius, in our headquarters, to get our people with us. But remotely, we have not done internship, but I could say that it's never impossible, because if you have an expertise, why not? And if it's a matching platform, so just be on it, and perhaps someone will be happy to work with you.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So we have questions around people who are JavaScript web developers. Can Talenteum help you to get a job? Yes, go ahead and fill out, I imagine, your profile on the website to see, if you're going to be a match. They have over 10,000 people in their community, and so you'll be adding to that, which is really exciting. And let's see, we have questions around offering journalists remote work, and if you've heard of any thing in this space.
Yes, journalist is really open to remote work. I think journalists can work remotely all over the world, and you just have to collect data and create article. So even in Africa, I have seen some media magazine. The only thing is what I've seen is they are hiring people only for a short mission, because they just pay you by article, a little bit like in Europe or in US. They are not going to take you as an employee on a full-time job, but they are more willing to take you perhaps like a correspondent or someone paying you per article. So we are going perhaps to be more on the gig economy then.
I see, that's great. Good to know. And I think too, make a list of the newspapers that you read online that are in your country that you're seeing globally. Find out who some of those journalists are. Find them on Twitter, find them on LinkedIn, be proactive. I think this is the thing that's really hard in our job search. We want the opportunities to fall on our lap, which would be great. And also there's a lot of digging that we have to do. So I think too, especially with journalism, you can apply those same research skills that you have as a journalist to a job search, and you can have some good success. And I always have to do a plug here for Teal, which is a job search website. I put it in the chat and we'll share it as a link. I'm making a note here because someone had asked around, can we get help with our LinkedIn profile? Which again, Nicolas mentioned of wanting to position yourself as somebody who is an expert and has that confidence in your space. But if our LinkedIn profile doesn't communicate that to people, it can be challenging. And we have, over 250 people on just on this live call. So we won't be able to do reviews for everybody, but if you go to Teal and they have and do it on desktop, a Chrome extension, they have this fabulous tool that when you open up your LinkedIn, they have a live, and if we have time, I could show you what it looks like, but it'll give you a section by section guidance on what you're missing in your own profile, and it'll have a little red flag. So I'll show that in a moment because I think it's really a stellar tool, and I want everybody to know about it. So we have someone asking about being an accountant and financial analyst, which Nicolas, I think he asked this at the beginning before you shared that great story. So absolutely checking out platforms like Talenteum so that you can identify those roles and register. So let's see. And I think too, let's see, what are you seeing in terms of, we have a question about the prospective industries, skills and competencies needed remotely. So are you seeing, I suppose, like trends in what industries are really growing for hiring here? We touched on it a little bit, but I don't know if you want to dig into it anymore.
The four main categories are mainly web and IT, everything about back office for companies, which could be accountant to a secretary to a architect. Then we have sales and marketing, everything which is related to sales and marketing, and then we have finance. And the four categories, you need to have a hat of technology. When we are talking about I want to be a salesman or a business developer, if you know to use Salesforce, which is one of the main CRM, it's an asset. If you don't know how to use a CRM remotely, it's bad. So everything which could be done remotely, you need to have the technology with it. So try to put yourself on your CV or resume or LinkedIn that you master each CRM, or you know how to use this software. I'm an accountant, which software do you use? I'm an architect, which software do I use? And for example, I saw someone in education, you are a teacher, do you use some special software to work remotely with your students? Which one? So this is what will be the key if you want to work remotely. Just try to put details about your knowledge about technology and remote work already.
That's great, thank you. And I think I see too what was the question? Okay, this is something that is, I think, deceptive in the remote workspace, and that in terms of you see, oh, remote jobs, but then it'll be remote in the US, remote within Europe, remote within a specific country. And so really it is, and we will share again a link to some of this, of some opportunities you can find to find truly global remote companies can be challenging. And so it's really important on you as the job seeker to carefully look at a job description and read through. When it says remote-US, that means remote within the United States. Some of them will say fully global remote within, and they will outline the countries. I think increasingly companies are going to have to be better at this so that they can improve their own talent funnel, and they're not getting people applying for jobs who aren't not necessarily even qualified, but just legally able to work. What I also would encourage people to do is when you go on LinkedIn, if you go onto any company page, so, think about a company and they say that they hire remotely, go on to people, click on there's a little tab that says people, and you can see where they live. You can filter for where the employees live. So you can see, do they already even have people who are working in my country? And because that'll be a good indicator if they're actually even, legally hiring people where you live. And someone had asked a question here of payment gateway and setup. And you talked about this before of like the work that you're doing, Nicolas, with different banks to be able to even pay, since you are also an employer of record that you are. So because payment gateway and setup is a big issue for Africans in Africa. For example, Nigeria is not allowed on PayPal to receive funds. So what are the available payment gateway setups for us to receive payment for remote work?
Yes, exactly. So in fact, mainly people who use PayPal, it means they don't have a status. So they are not an employee, or they are working remotely without any status. That's why companies want a company like us to be a third party, and we pay people by bank accounts directly in their wire. And for example, in Africa, we work a lot with Flutterwave, which is one of the biggest online banking system. We work with Payoneer. And we work with the casual bank because at the end, this is the customer who is going to pay for the wire amount. So we work with Nigeria, with South Africa, Cameroon, and we just do some normal wire to pay in your bank account. So we are taking care of everything compliance. So if you have a companies and they want to hire you, we can just be your partner as a third party.
That's great. So there's so many, and this is why webinars like this are so helpful, because there are a lot of complexities and nuance when it comes to remote work. And I want to say kudos to everyone who's here, because you're taking that first step to inform yourselves and educate yourselves on how to navigate them. So we're glad that you're here and grateful for these great questions. I think, let's see, I think a lot of these questions you ended up covering in the session. Is there, I'm just going to keep looking there. I think this is interesting. There's the question is there a method of validation as a talent? And maybe to another way of saying of how are you vetting the talent on your platform, and how do people know if their skills are enough?
Well, we are let's say a platform, but we don't know how expert you are, because we are in several categories. So all the tests and the background check will be done by the customer who is willing to hire you through our platform. So ourselves, we just guide you to put all the data about you. Even the salary, if you want to put $10,000, you can put $10,000. But if the market is not here, you are not going to find a job. So it's a free market. So you put whatever you want. We are just seeing if it's a profile which is coherent, which is fine with the market. But we don't go deeper. In fact, who will be going deeper is mainly the clients. And that's why you need to be, let's say, sexy enough on your profile in order that people want to hire you.
So that's the importance. I think too, what I hear often with job seekers is a frustration of they read a job description and then they look at their CV or they think about their own experience and they say, I'm frustrated because I have everything they're looking for. But then when I see their CV or their resume or their LinkedIn, someone has to be digging to find that information. And it's on you as the job seeker to make it very clear to people your value proposition and how you are a value add to a company. And oftentimes the way that you do that is by making sure that what they're asking for in a job description is what you have in your profile. because somebody can't see into your mind. People aren't mind readers, and people don't know what experience that you've had. But again, that's why you're here. You're learning and seeing these different opportunities and ways to communicate that. I love this website JobScan, which I'll share a link to as well. You can upload your resume. It's free. I think 5 scans a month. You upload your resume and copy and paste the job description, and it shows for you where you're missing the skills that they're actually asking for. And that's really important. And again, what I'm hearing you say, Nicolas, in terms of presenting yourself to employers and making sure that you have everything that they're looking for. So I think we covered this question here. And we have, let's see. And I think that we have covered a lot of ground in this short, it feels like it's been very fast, but we're already coming up on the hour. Nicolas, is there anything that we didn't ask that you want to be asked about remote work or Talenteum?
Just try to work and invest a few hours on yourself. Try to see who are the best profile to work remotely, and invest in training yourself. You know, you will need to train yourself, and try to see that perhaps in 10 years, your job will be taken by a robot. So if you don't want your job to be taken by a robot, you need to be empathy, and you need to understand how it won't be possible that you are going to lose your job because a robot will come and will take a job. So if you are smart enough, and if you train and read yourself about everything which is going on in this world, it will be fine with you. So try to think about the future of work and the job of tomorrow.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Nicolas. I'm going to go ahead and quickly share. I'll put my LinkedIn here so that people can follow along. We'll share that. I want to quickly also share, if I may, my screen so that people can see. Can you see my screen, Nicolas?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. This tool that I shared a link to, and Nicolas, I'd love to know what you think too, but you add it as a Chrome extension and it pops up here. It's small now, this little bird on the bottom right, and it's giving you section by section feedback on your LinkedIn profile. Truly an invaluable tool when you are out there wondering, but what do I need to improve? What is missing? Here is like everything that you need for each of these different sections. Updating your LinkedIn URL, you know, you can customize it so it doesn't have all those letters and numbers after it. I saw a lot of LinkedIn's being shared, which is wonderful, but you can shorten that URL. So want to make sure people know about that. And this is the first place that you can start, because I imagine on Talenteum, you can probably put a link to your LinkedIn profile. So you want to make sure that anywhere that you're communicating who you are and what you care about, that it's a cohesive representation of you and your brand and your career. So I'll stop sharing there. I want to say thank you to everyone who has made the time to spend with us today. And for those who are watching afterwards, we are grateful that you spent the time as well. Huge thanks to Nicolas and Talenteum for being with us. I've learned a lot, and we're excited to share resources and links to Talenteum. I think you're going to have at least 250 new talents sign up today who have joined this webinar. If you'll be receiving a copy of this recording, a link to it. You will receive links to all the resources we referenced and a digital badge. We hope that you'll share some of your takeaways with everyone else out there who wasn't able to join. You can share a link to the webinar as well. So thank you from Nexford University. My name is Jennifer Bangoura. We are thrilled to have been with you this afternoon. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer, and bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.